Hypothecary debt? Yes. Hypothecation bond? Yes. The hypothec? Let's look at some debt and some bonds. Yes. Could you get me all the junk bonds? Yes. Throughout the nation. I was looking at Michael Milken in one of these. It's racketeering. Yes. Yeah. In fact, I have a number of screen prints. Where's that phone at? In racketeering, when you launder money, yes, and you issue debt with the intention that you're never going to pay it back. um, there is quite a few. Well, I didn't really want to get into it, but I think it good because, this Michael Milken, yes, he kind of set the example for racketeering, yes. Now, let's say it involves kidnapping, yes, the fraudulent use of the judiciary, yes, to issue court orders where I, as a father, yeah, have not been given any due process. Now, yesterday we were talking about obstructions, obstruction of justice, where you, as a court, said, well, he has to motion the court even though we didn't give him any notice or opportunity to be heard. But there is the crime of offering interference of any sort to the work of police, investigators, regulatory agencies, prosecutors, or other officials. Yes, yes, yes. The obstruction of justice. Now, I do know that I can sue you for this, okay? See, I put it here, obstruction of justice may be defined as the crime of offering interference, yes, of any sort to the work of police, investigators, regulatory agencies, prosecutors, or other officials. The offense is specifically defined by the United States Code as a violation of 18 U.S. Code 73. Now, this obstruction of justice, yes, where you actually gave power of attorney, yes, to my wife without any due process to myself, yes, without any notice of court hearings, yes, without any enforcement of the actual laws, yes. And then you said I was crazy. I said I want my sons. And you're getting sued for obstruction of justice. As soon as you know, right? See, the United States versus Angler, yes. Supreme Court ruled that to be convicted of obstruction of justice, the defendant had to form specific intent to obstruct a federal judicial or grand jury proceeding. Yes. Now, these federal judicial proceedings that I've been telling you about, yes, where it involves class action lawsuits, yes, where you have to use the federal courts of the United States of America, instead of, right now, you are obstructing me from suing you in federal court. Now, your specific intent as defendants of lawsuits is to obstruct me from suing you in federal judicial or grand jury proceedings. Yes, that is the actual, right now, United States for Angular, Supreme Court, and that to be convicted of obstruction of justice, the defendant, known as the Clallam County Sheriff's Department, yes, the Port Angeles Police Department, yes, the Sequim Police Department, yes, and the Port Townsend Police Department, yes, and the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, yes, to be actually sued for obstruction of justice is you have to be able to know the specific intent to obstruct my use of the federal judicial or grand jury proceedings. Yes. Now, you would say that as long as I haven't filed right now, I'm suing you for obstruction of justice, for obstructing my right to sue you for class action lawsuits, where you decided to reissue a protection order by minute order, yes, while I was on trial for the allegation of violating them. Well, there's no place, yes, that allows for a minute order. See, you have to give the respondent timely and proper notice of court hearings. Yeah, you gave me 12 hours before the court hearing. The sheriff's department personally read me the court minute order. And I specifically told the sheriff's department while living in the fifth wheel, yes, he did. I'm not going to court. When you only give me 12 hours right now, I did realize, Brent, yes, that your abuse of power, right, has intentionally caused an obstruction of justice that I will. because, the sheriffs did know I was living in the fifth wheel. Yes, they did. They arrested me while residing there. Yes. And they drove out there one day and they thought it was somewhat humorous. Yes. That they were actually reading to me the minute order that you wanted me to appear in court. Well, I did in my own lame brain, right, the calculation that there was exactly 12 hours. Oh, well, it was 14 hours. Yes. There's no possible way that it could have been legal. Brent. Now, let's say the two sheriff's deputies that did drive out there at 1023 Kitchen Dick Road that didn't really realize. Timely and proper notice of court hearings is at least 5 judicial days prior to the court hearing. Yes. There must be proof of service in the court file before having the court hearing. Yes. And it must fulfill the requirements of the RCWs of the state of Washington. Now, you can't violate the rights of myself, yes, the minors named, yes, or the petitioner by having a court hearing 14 hours after serving the individual the notice of the minute order. Now, at that time, I did realize, okay, there's no use me appearing at a court hearing for the reissuance of a protection order while on trial for the allegation of violating a protection order unless there was the verdict of the jury that would have convicted me or would not have. And when the not guilty verdict, yes, when the jury said I was not guilty, my record was expunged. I had no criminal. Although RICO covers violent crimes such as kidnapping, yes, several of the offenses encompassed within the statute may be viewed as synonymous with white collar and corporate crime. These include counterfeiting, financial institution fraud, money laundering, mail fraud, securities fraud, wire fraud, embezzlement from welfare funds, theft by deception, extortionate, credit fraud, Now, these RICO laws, yes, when you issued a dissolution of marriage, it is kidnapping. That means it's a federal lawsuit and you're obstructing justice because of your refusal to allow me to sue you in federal fucking court. Now, let's look at money laundering and mail fraud. Yes, it is mail fraud. Yes, to continue to send to 1023 Kitchen Dick Road notice of court hearings or any support order issued from this state or any state of the United States. Now, Mike Van Proyen should have been arrested for RICO, racketeering. Now, for every time that you decided that you would launder money to support your way of doing, Mike is actually guilty of mail fraud. Yes, he is. He's guilty of money laundering. And then there's the question of welfare funds. Yes. When you issue the court orders, protection order, and the dissolution of marriage, my wife is guilty of the embezzlement of